Hey, what's going on, everybody? Sports Gaming Rosters here. I guess this is my new Monday tradition, at least until I run out of time or whatever. Mock draft, you know how it goes. Please like, please definitely subscribe if you enjoy this video. That's the best way to help me out. Um, yeah, so let's get into it. I ran a lottery generator as I do for each one of these. Go to tankathon.com. It's an awesome website. This time around, Houston lucked out and got the first overall pick. So with the first pick, Houston Rockets select Jabari Smith from Auburn. My first change to number one. You still got the three power forwards. You got Jabari Smith, Chet Holmgren, Paolo Banchero. But yeah, Smith just seems to be the best all-around prospect right now. Stats: 16.2 points per game, 6.9 rebounds per game, 1.7 steals, 2.2 assists. 44 field goal percentage, 43 from three-pointers, 83 free throws. Those percentages are good guard numbers, let alone a big man. Great shooter, great offensive player, just an all-around solid prospect. May not have the wow factor Chet Holmgren or the amazing offensive game as Banchero, but just the all-around package is so enticing, and he seems to be the lowest bust potential out of the three. Just add all that in, and that's why I moved him up to number one for me. It's still a definite three-man race. These guys are all in tier one, so I'm interested to see how the season progresses. But right now, Smith, he's just so consistent, so productive in every way. Can shoot, can handle the ball, play defense. Just the perfect new age big man, and somebody that'll be a great fit for Houston with all those guards they have on the roster, and they're really lacking somebody who can take charge up front. So you got Sengun, who's definitely the center of the future. Put Jabari Smith at power forward, Jalen Green, and Houston's definitely got something working for them. So yeah, this might be subject to change, but as of right now, Jabari Smith is my number one pick. So Jabari Smith goes first overall to Houston. With the second overall pick, the Orlando Magic select Chet Holmgren, power forward from Gonzaga. 13 points per game, 8.4 rebounds, 2.3 assists, 3.4 blocks, 61% field goal, 35 from three, and 69 free throw. Yeah, so I still like Holmgren as the unicorn of this class, the guy who can have the most impact, but also the guy who could easily be the biggest bust out of the three. But the Magic luck out, finally land a pick high enough to draft an elite player. If you don't consider Franz Wagner elite, I don't know. He could be. He's having a great season, but the Magic are always one of those teams that just fell out of the range of getting a great prospect. So here they select Holmgren. I still really like him. Obviously, he hasn't gotten any worse. It's just that I liked Jabari Smith a tiny bit better right now. Holmgren still, I mean, the way he can handle the ball, the way he can block shots, the way he can shoot, it's definitely intriguing. I would love to see him on a young up-and-coming team like Orlando. The jury will be out as far as Holmgren goes until he gets to the league and we can see how good he really is. But these three power forwards will go 1, 2, and 3 in some order. So yeah, the Magic get Chet Holmgren, second overall from Gonzaga. With the third overall pick, the Sacramento Kings select Paolo Banchero, power forward from Duke. 17 points per game, 7.3 rebounds, 1.4 steals, 48% from the field, 33% from three-pointer, and 82% free throw shooting. Sacramento jumps up and gets the third of the great three power forwards in this class. This guy right here is definitely the best offensive player of the bunch. The way he can shoot, he can run the court like a guard, a total mismatch. Reminds me a lot of Carmelo Anthony in his Syracuse/early Denver Nuggets days. Yeah, 20 points per game right off the bat, I think you're going to get from him. His defense isn't quite up to par with Chet Holmgren especially, but a guy his size who can score like him, he's going to be a great player in the NBA. Sacramento probably would want more defense, but hey, you pick 3, you get one of the 3, you just take whoever's left and throw them right in power forward, make up for the mistake of Marvin Bagley Jr., and move on. So yeah, good pick here for the Kings, a no-brainer definitely. Paolo Banchero, pick 3 from Duke. All right, with pick 4, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Jaden Ivey, shooting guard from Purdue. 16.7 points per game, 5.1 rebounds, 3.2 assists, 52% from the field, 45% from three-pointer, and 73% free throw shooting. So I know the Thunder already have Gilgeous-Alexander, Josh Giddey, Lou Dort, Theo Maledon, and a lot of other guards, so they would definitely want to get one of those big men, but they're gone, and I think Jaden Ivey is very clearly pick number 4 after those 3. It would be silly to pass on him for anybody else in this class right now, especially a team who's still building like the Thunder. If this was real life, they definitely have the draft capital to move up. It would take quite a bit to move up, but they could do it if they really wanted to. But no trades in this mock, so they stick at 4 and get Jaden Ivey, who is clearly the best guard prospect in this class, in my opinion. It's really not even close. I read off those percentages. He's an offensive terror. Very strong, good ball handler, can really shoot, can get to the rim. I really like this guy. It was strange he didn't declare after last year, but he made the right decision as he stepped up his game big time. Purdue's a really good team. He's the best player on that team. And that's saying a lot because they have some monsters in the front court. So despite need, the Thunder still are definitely rebuilding and should take the best player available. And that's clearly Jaden Ivey, who they pick at number 4 from Purdue. All right, with the 5th pick, Detroit Pistons select Patrick Baldwin Jr., small forward from Milwaukee. Let's see what we got here. 15 points per game, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 36% field goal percentage, 32% from 3, and 76% free throw percentage. Those stats aren't beautiful, but he chose to play for his father in the Horizon League, and he's definitely suffering as a result. If he went to Duke or something like that, I think top 5 would just be a no-brainer. But I haven't really watched a lot of his games, but I assume, judging by the record of his basketball team and the players around him, defenses are probably just collapsing on this guy nonstop, and he's really having a hard time with things. I think he's one of those players who will definitely enjoy playing in the NBA. The more open game, obviously has better teammates around him. He's got great length, great shooting stroke, good ball handler. I think this tier 3 after Ivy and after the big 3 power forwards, there's a lot of players, so you can go either way. But I think he would be a decent pick for the Pistons right here, who could definitely use somebody who can shoot and somebody with size. And I think Baldwin will be just fine when he gets into the NBA, and definite top 10 pick. He just has to get through this season in one piece, and probably redo his decision to play for Milwaukee. But I think he'll be fine. So with pick 5, Detroit selects Patrick Baldwin Jr. from Milwaukee. With pick 6, the New Orleans Pelicans select Jaden Hardy, shooting guard, who's playing in the G League. See Hardy, 17.7 points per game, 3.2 assists per game, 1.3 steals per game, shooting 35 from the field, shooting 26% from three-pointers, and 88% free throw. Those stats aren't great either, but the G League, especially the Ignite, it's got a lot of guys fighting for their own stats and their own draft position and things like that. It's a great idea in theory, but not always in execution, because that's what they're playing for. That's what this team is playing for. They're playing to get drafted. But Hardy, he's scoring more than anybody else on the team, and if you look at the free throw percentage, it's amazing. Turnovers, definitely a flawed player right now. Not Jalen Green last year, but I still think he's a lottery pick, especially in a class that's low on impact scoring guards, and that's what the Pelicans desperately need. Their backcourt is kind of a mess. Well, the whole team is a mess without Zion Williamson, but the backcourt in particular could really use somebody with a scoring punch like this. Hardy fluctuates. Sometimes I have him 10 to 13. Right now I have him at number 6. I guess it just depends on how you look at the guy. Can he show why he was such a high recruit? Can he escape the somewhat of a mess that is the G League Ignite squad? I think he'll show very well during the combine. He's going to fluctuate in my mocks from mock to mock. But right now you're doing pretty good. Number 6 to the New Orleans Pelicans, Jaden Hardy. With pick number 7, the Portland Trailblazers select Benedict Matherine, shooting guard from Arizona. 18.3 points per game, 6.6 rebounds, 2.1 assists, shooting 49% from the floor, 38% three-pointers, and 80% from the free throw line. This is the highest I've had Matherine, but he is really killing it right now, putting up quite a few 25-plus point per game performances. This guy is a bucket getter, can shoot, can take it to the hole. He's got good size, great talent, really put it all together after an up-and-down freshman season. Arizona's a really good team. They got quite a few NBA prospects on there, but Matherine's the top guy, and I would feel very comfortable taking him in the top 10, which I have him right now. Portland, who knows how they're going to be next year. Will they have Damian Lillard? Will they not? But will they have McCollum? Will they have will they be a totally different team? But Matherine is a guy that pretty much any team could use as a classic wing scorer who can shoot and who can handle the ball and who can get to the rim. So with pick 7, Portland Trailblazers select Benedict Matherine, wing player from Arizona. With pick 8, the Indiana Pacers select Kendall Brown, small forward from Baylor. We got 12.3 points per game, 3.9 rebounds per game, 1.2 steals, shooting 69% from the floor, 45 from three-pointer, and 70 from the free throw line. Obviously, those numbers, especially the shooting percentages, are crazy. Brown, unlike a lot of these freshmen, has been able to just kind of play a complementary role for a really loaded, really veteran-laden team with a lot of guards and ball handlers and scorers. Baylor's probably the best team in college basketball after winning it all last year, even though they've lost a couple players. Brown has slid right in, 24 minutes per game. He's just scoring at a really, really high clip. He's got a couple duds on the resume, like couple 4 points scoring efforts. But as far as a guy who can really shoot and play good defense, the 3 and D guy that you hear so much about, he might be the best in the class. He won't wow you with his numbers, but he's just performing. He's just settling right in and having a great season, and good enough that I would take him in the top 10. Pacers are another team in transition, but Brown, that kind of wing player, any team, no matter what roster they have, could use. So good pick here. Pick number 8, Indiana takes Kendall Brown from Baylor. With pick number 9, the San Antonio Spurs select Keegan Murray, power forward from Iowa. 23.7 points per game, 8.2 rebounds per game, 2.0 blocks per game, 1.6 steals per game, 58% field goal, 30% from three-point line, 82% from free throw line. Keegan Murray, the front runner for Player of the Year, leading the entire nation in scoring, putting up amazing numbers across the board. Makes you wonder why he only played 18 minutes per game as a freshman. But you had Luka Garza there gobbling up all the minutes and all the points. Someone had to step up, and Murray has definitely done that. Is he as talented as the rest of the players in the top 10? Maybe not. Is he as big of an athlete? No, but the guy produces. I think he's going to be just fine in the NBA. He's got more than enough athleticism to play power forward in today's game. Perfect player for the Spurs, who have a ton of guards. They have Pirtle at center, but they don't really have much at power forward. Murray, I think, may never be an all-star, doesn't have the upside as these other guys in the top 10, but I can't ignore those numbers, and I can't ignore the production. So I would slot him in the mid to late lottery and not worry about it. So With pick 9, the Spurs select Keegan Murray, power forward from Iowa. With the 10th pick, the Minnesota Timberwolves. All right, start over. Blah, 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 blah. 1, 2, 3, go. With the 10th pick, the Minnesota Timberwolves select Walker Kessler, center from Auburn. I've always had Kessler on my radar, even last year when he was a bench player for North Carolina, but especially this year, I was wanting to see if he would step up for Auburn, and man, this guy is quickly becoming a stud. He completely demolished LSU so handily that I had to put him in this mock. He wasn't originally in it. He's my new addition, all the way up to number 10. So he had a 16-point, 11 block, 10 rebound, triple-double. Even knocked in some three-pointers, and yeah, him and Jabari Parker are just an unfair front court duo. On the year, Kessler has 10 points a game, 7.5 rebounds, 4.2 blocks. Yes, 4.2. So yeah, 18 in his last 2 games. 9 the 2 games before that. He's very athletic. He was a high recruit for North Carolina. Those blocks are just something else, and he's not just somebody you're going to stick in the middle and hope he doesn't make a fool of himself. This guy is an athlete. He can hang with these new age big men, and his scoring ability, got some decent shooting touch, can probably be a future 3-point shooter. But you're getting defense, and you're getting low post scoring from this guy. Still a project for sure. Not sure how he would fit with Karl Anthony Towns in Minnesota, but you're picking at number 10. You just want to draft the best talent available, and I really like this guy. So I might have him high. We'll see how he turns out, but I can't ignore that production, that defense. He's even got a 5-steal game on his resume as well against Nebraska the other day. So just an all-around active defender and good scorer. So pick 10, Minnesota selects Walker Kessler, center from Auburn. With pick 11, the Atlanta Hawks select Ty Washington Jr., point guard from Kentucky. 14 points a game, 4.2 rebounds, 4 assists, 50% from the floor, 41% three, 81% free throw. The best point guard. I don't like the term pure point guard, because I mean he's a combo guard who can score, but I don't consider Hardy or Ivy point guards. So I would say he's the best point guard in this class. Yeah, the Hawks have Trae Young, but I think Washington can play some shooting guard, and he would definitely be a good backup with a chance to become more. And plus, he's just the best value available right here. The only freshman starter for Kentucky this year, the only freshman who's really putting forth a great effort, a very efficient scorer, tough, good ball handler, more than a 2-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. Just a very solid guard that I would draft with confidence, and I think he can definitely be a good starter in the NBA. He's not higher than this because, I don't know, I just think the players in front of him are a little better, but he's a good player in his own right, and I think he'll be a very solid pro. So with pick 11, Atlanta selects Ty Washington Jr. from Kentucky. With the 12th pick, the New York Knicks select Johnny Davis, shooting guard from Wisconsin. We got 20.8 points per game, 6.6 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 1.5 steal, 44% from the floor, 34% three-pointers, 83% free throw. Stud shooter, maybe the best pure shooter in this class. The guy can just get buckets. 20 points per game, pretty much automatic. Much better rebounder than you would expect from a guy his size. He's steadily crept up from the 20s to the teens, and now he's made an appearance in the late lottery. I like guys who can handle the ball and play defense and really shoot. I think the NBA is full of those guys. The NBA always needs those guys, and those guys are always drafted pretty high. The Knicks do have Quentin Grimes, but hey, wings, you can keep collecting wings. You can never have enough shooters. So New York, late in the lottery, goes with Johnny Davis, shooting guard from Wisconsin. With the 13th pick, the Toronto Raptors select Jalen Duren, center, Memphis. 11 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, 2.6 blocks, 67 field goal percentage, and 58 free throw. No, I did not forget about Duren. I just don't, he's talented. I just don't know how his game fits with the NBA. At some point in time, as the draft goes along, you draft him because of the talent, and he's just the best player available. But how much use do teams really have for a guy who's a low post scorer in a league where nobody runs that kind of offense? He can't really shoot. But what he can do is he can gobble up rebounds, block shots, and clog the lane. At some point, you take that because he's the best player, like I said, but how high is he really going to go despite the talent, despite the recruit ranking and all that? We'll have to see. But at pick 13 is obviously good value for the Toronto Raptors, who select Jalen Duren from Memphis. With the 14th pick, the Boston Celtics select point guard Kennedy Chandler from Tennessee. 14 points per game, 3 rebounds, 5.3 assists, 2 steals, 44% from the floor, 37 from 3, and 75 free throw. Throwback, classic point guard, small, 6 foot, 170 pounds, but a good ball handler, very solid floor general. You got 5.3 assists compared to 2.2 turnovers. Two turnovers for a freshman who has the ball in his hands 30 minutes a game is pretty dang impressive. Good three-point shooter, solid from the free throw line. Basically a solid all-around point guard. Boston's one of the few teams in the NBA who could really use a long-term option at that position. He's not going to overwhelm you offensively. He might have trouble with the Ja Morants and Kyrie Irvings of the world, but who doesn't? But at the 14th pick, when you have a chance to draft a player as steady as this, who at the worst will be a very good backup point guard, I think it's a solid pick. So Boston goes with Kennedy Chandler, point guard from Tennessee. With the 15th pick, the Washington Wizards select A.J. Griffin, small forward from Duke. 6.7 points per game, 2.5 rebounds, 54% from the floor, 44% three-pointer, and 100% free throw. Those numbers don't really wow you, but he was definitely a end-of-the-bench player for a while who's gotten about 20 minutes per game over the past 4 and has scored well, really shot the ball, played good defense. He's starting to show why he was such a high recruit. Duke is loaded with talent and draft prospects and a lot of upperclassmen, and so Griffin was going to have to buy his time, and I think he's done enough to be a mid first round pick, maybe even mid to late lottery if he can continue this throughout the season. Definitely a project, but somebody who's gotten much better his past few games for Duke. Washington has a lot of good young players, so at this point in the draft, you just draft the best player available, which I think is Griffin, and just another guy for the Wizards coaching staff to work with. So with pick 15, Washington selects A.J. Griffin, small forward from Duke. With the 16th pick, the Memphis Grizzlies select Nikola Jovic, power forward from Serbia. 10 points per game, 4.3 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 41% field goal, 37% from 3, and 73% free throw. This is over 28 minutes per game. He's playing professionally in Serbia right now. Definitely has a game. I can't even compare him to Nikola Jokic, but if you want to say a tall guy who can handle the ball, who can see the floor, who can shoot, that's Jovic. Definitely models his game after his countrymen. Pretty much a terrible defender. Not the quickest, but at this point in the draft, 16, and the Grizzlies have 3 first-round picks. This is a good spot to take the gamble. At the worst, you gotta stretch forward and come off the floor and come off the bench, and knock down some shots. And at the best, you could have a future starter on your hands. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done, especially on defense if you expect him to be on the floor at all. But the offense is lottery level, and Not a bad pick here. So 16, Nikola Jovic goes to the Grizzlies. With the 17th pick, the Dallas Mavericks select Gene Montero, point guard from the Dominican Republic. He's playing for the new Overtime Elite Upstart League. I don't have any stats for him yet. I'm not sure if that league has even started. So I'll just go off scouting reports. Quick player. The first prospect I can think of from the Dominican Republic for sure. More of a scorer right now, as you would expect from a guy his age. He stole Luka Doncic's jersey, number 77. That's what he also wears. Dallas just needs a young talent anywhere they can get it. They're very top-heavy with Doncic, Porzingis sometimes. Jalen Brunson's an upcoming free agent. Who knows? This is just another best talent available situation here. Montero's got the ability to be a solid scorer. Very young, will need to be developed, but the potential's there. So pick 17, Dallas selects Gene Montero, point guard, Dominican Republic. With the 18th pick, the Charlotte Hornets select Terry Eason, power forward, LSU. 15.8 points per game, 7.4 rebounds, 1.4 blocks, 1.7 steals, 53% from the floor, 27% three-pointer, 80% free throw. Eason was a new addition in my last mock, I think, and he's going to be a mainstay because he is exploded as a sophomore for LSU, one of the better teams in the country. Good shot blocker, great defender, can shoot out to three-point range, quick, athletic. He's just having a great season, and he's the type of player that teams really want as their power forward. A guy who's athletic and a guy who can play defense and knock down enough shots to keep teams honest. If he can continue, I think he'll continue to rise, or if he can continue playing the way he has, I think he can rise up even more in these rankings. But pick 18, Charlotte goes with Terry Eason from LSU. With the 19th pick, the Oklahoma City Thunder, this pick coming from the Clippers, selects Dyson Daniels, guard from Australia, who is playing in the G League. 11.3 points per game, 6.2 rebounds, 4.4 assists, 44% from the floor, 25 from three, and 73 from free throw. Definite project, but Australia has a good track record of bringing guys over to the NBA. Daniels gets to join his countryman Josh Giddey on this team. He's playing third most minutes out of anybody on the Ignite squad. Look at the numbers. 11 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Shows you his game. Great all around distributor, can score enough. Rebounder. This is, to be honest, pick 19 is an absolute steal for Daniels, who I think could realistically go in the lottery. He's kind of blended in the background when you got Hardy, Beauchamp, Scoot Henderson on the team, but he's having a great year for the Ignite and would be a fantastic prospect to draft right here for the Thunder. So pick 19, Oklahoma City goes with Dyson Daniels, the Australian playing for the Ignite. With the 20th pick, the Denver Nuggets select Ochai Agbaji, shooting guard from Kansas. 20.6 points per game, 4.7 rebounds, 1.6 assists, 1 steal, 54% from the floor, 46% three-point, and 71 from the free throw line. Shooting, scoring, toughness, a lot of experience. The only senior I have as a first-round prospect. Denver could use somebody steady coming off the bench. As can any playoff team. You know what you get from him. You're going to get some scoring, you're going to get some shooting, and you're going to get decent defense. And Chris Duarte is showing that you can draft seniors in the first round and they'll still be productive. And I definitely see this guy as a first round prospect. Not an exciting pick, especially for a Denver team that's used to going with upside, but this is a good player for them. And there we go. Pick 20, Denver selects Ochai Agbaji, shooting guard, Kansas. With the 21st pick, the Philadelphia 76ers select Caleb Houston, small forward, Michigan. 9.3 points per game, 4.3 rebounds, 1.4 assists, 37% from the floor, 34 from three-pointer, and 80 from the free throw line. Michigan struggling bad, and so is Houston. I thought he had turned the corner, but anytime you have a 1-point effort and a loss to UCF as a Big Ten team, that's going to look bad. Houston, the consistency's not there yet, but I think he'll be better in the NBA. He's got good length, good shooting stroke. I had him in my late lottery, but I just can't put him ahead of the guys that I've previously listed. But he's one of those players who, like a Jalen Johnson or a Nasir Little, college career might not have gone as planned, but they'll still declare after 1 year, and somebody in the 20s will take him. The talent's there. I don't see him falling out of the first round at all. So, yeah, it's kind of hard to play 30 minutes a game and only average 9 points and be a non-factor most nights, but that's Houston. But the talent's there, and somebody will take him in the first round. So Philadelphia goes with Caleb Houston, small forward from Michigan, with the 21st pick. With the 22nd pick, the Cleveland Cavaliers select J.D. Davison, point guard from Alabama. 8.4 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, 4.4 assists, 50% from the floor, 28% three-pointer, 70% from the free throw line. Davison's been playing as the first guard off the bench for Alabama this year. They got a couple good guards already, so he's been the bench player, but he's still 24 minutes a game. Doesn't really look to score that often. He's not a good shooter yet in his career. He doesn't really take many threes. Chooses to attack the basket. Definitely more of a distributor. His turnovers are not great. He just had 8 turnovers in a close win against Tennessee. The assists are there, strong rebounder, the ability to be a good defender. I expected more, but I still like him as a prospect, which is why I have him in the first round, but he's too inconsistent. There are too many flaws to take him much higher than this. Cleveland has Darius Garland as the clear point guard of the future, but the backup spot has been kind of a revolving door, and with pick 22, if you can select someone like Davison, a strong, good ball handler, can play both guard positions, can develop into a solid bench player, I think it's a good pick. So Cleveland, pick 23, selects J.D. Davison from Alabama. Houston Rockets, this pick from Miami, at number 23, select Marjon Beauchamp, wing player from the G League. We got 15.1 points per game, 7.3 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 57% from the floor, 24 from 3, and 65 free throw. More of an old-fashioned attack the basket, slashing wing player. He's playing the most minutes of any Ignite player at 36 per game. If the shooting was there, he'd be much higher than this, but I love the way he attacks the basket. I love the strength and the rebounding. He really gets after it. For a team, a lot of bad teams have multiple first-round picks. The Rockets, one of them. I think he's a good player you can throw in the mix and develop. First round, late first round, early second round developmental prospect. Good for a team like the Rockets, as I've said. So Houston, pick number 23, selects Marjon Beauchamp, wing player from the G League. With the 24th pick, the Memphis Grizzlies select Ousmane Dieng, small forward from France. 3.3 points per game, 2 rebounds per game, 21% from the floor, 0.95% three-pointers, and 50% free throw. Those numbers do not read well. The Grizzlies have 3 first-round picks. Dieng's holding on as a first-rounder, but if he doesn't pick things up, I'm going to drop him. I don't expect the Grizzlies to have 3 rookies on the roster next year. They could choose to draft this guy and leave him overseas. He's playing in New Zealand, the league that R.J. Hampton and others have played in recently. He's still only 18 years old, but those numbers are hard to swallow. You know what I mean? But he's got length. He's got good ball handling ability. The potential's there, but he's going to keep dropping for me if he doesn't shore things up. I know that's not much of a ringing endorsement for a first-round prospect. I try to be positive with everybody, but the Grizzlies will swing for the fences here, and with one of 3 first-round picks, select Ousmane Dieng, small forward from France. With the 25th pick, the Milwaukee Bucks select Mark Williams, center from Duke. 8.4 points per game, 5.6 rebounds, 2.9 blocks, 67% from the floor, and 65% from the free throw line. You know what you're getting from Williams. You saw the best of him against Gonzaga, and you've seen the worst of him in a 12-minute game, 0 points against Virginia Tech. Williams, I think, will fare better in the NBA. In college, especially for a team like Duke, you're not going to play him 30 minutes a game because you don't really need a guy like that when your opposition doesn't really have anybody above 6'8". You just throw all the athletes on the floor, and Williams is just going to be a role player. I think same in the NBA, obviously, role player here, but good shot blocker, can steal the ball, can score when needed to, and is an athlete. I think he's a perfect backup center with the potential to be a starter. The Bucks have Bobby Portis and Giannis, obviously. They don't really have much in the way of bench players. I think Williams will be a solid rotational big. Obviously, he's not the most exciting prospect, and he's not the most consistent, but as a sophomore with his size and athleticism, I would take him late in the first round. So Milwaukee, pick 25, Mark Williams, center from Duke. With the 26th pick, the Miami Heat, this pick from Brooklyn selects Wendell Moore Jr., wing player from Duke. 17 points per game, 5.7 rebounds, 5 assists, 1.4 steals, 58% from the floor, 41% three-pointer, 72 free throw. Guy who was a very high recruit, could have easily played one mediocre year for the Blue Devils and tried his hand at professional levels, but chose to really stay, work on his game, and as a junior, he's one of the better players in the country. Can rebound, handle the ball, shoot. 17, 5, and 5 with those shooting percentages. That's fantastic. The 4th player drafted in this first round from Duke, probably the glue guy, who's definitely worked his way into a clear first-round pick. A playoff team like the Heat love to have guys like this who can produce without having the ball in their hands and have the experience to step in when needed. So congrats on Moore for really working on his game, and this guy's for sure a first-round pick, in my opinion. So pick 26, Miami selects Wendell Moore Jr., guard from Duke. With the 27th pick, the Chicago Bulls select Christian Koloko, center from Arizona. 12.8 points per game, 6.9 rebounds, 3.3 blocks, 1.2 steals, 62% from the floor, 74% free throw. Even as a junior, Koloko is a project for sure, but the athleticism, the shot blocking, he's a good scorer, a very good defender. You see guys like him, Kai Jones, Jackson Hayes. These guys will go in the first round. Teams love those energy big men who are athletic enough to run the floor and keep up with these amazing athletes at the NBA level. Koloko might never be a starter, but the Bulls don't really have much behind Nikola Vucevic, especially defensively. I think Koloko will be a perfect fit as a guy who can come in 20 minutes per game and just swat some shots and run the floor and rebound. So pick 27, the Bulls select Christian Koloko, center from Arizona. With the 28th pick, the Memphis Grizzlies, this pick from Utah, select Christian Braun, shooting guard from Kansas. 17 points per game, 6.2 rebounds, 3 assists, 1.3 blocks, 1.4 steals, 58% from the floor, 34% three-pointer, 85% free throw. Grizzlies, 3 first-round picks. Christian Braun, I mean, he's not a guy you think of when you think NBA, but look at the numbers across the board. Great shooter, blocks shots, steals, handles the ball. A lot of experience playing for Kansas, obviously. What's not to like? May never be a star, may never even be a starter, but judging from my mock, as you hear me say over and over again, I love guys who can shoot and guys who can play defense and guys who can handle the ball, and Braun does all that, has the experience, has good size, and I think would be a solid rotational player. So Memphis, with the 3rd of 3 first-round picks, selects Christian Braun, wing player from Kansas. 29th pick, the Oklahoma City Thunder. This one from the Phoenix Suns selects Harrison Ingram, small forward, freshman from Stanford. Another team with 3 first-round picks. They go with upside here. Ingram is a new entrant in my first round. Basically think of Kyle Anderson, and you got a good idea of what Ingram can do. You know, that slow-mo point forward type who just lulls you to sleep and finds the open man. Good rebound numbers, good assist number, good enough scorer. I think a better shooter than Anderson was in college. You don't really pay much attention to Stanford anymore, but they have a good one. And Ingram, I don't think he's a good enough athlete to really go much higher than this, but one of those guys who can just put you to sleep, and before you know it, you got a productive player on your hands. Thunder just gathering talent right now. They didn't get a big man in this class, but they got 3 players that you throw in the mix and draft another 5 or 6 or 7 next year when you have all those picks. So with pick 29, Oklahoma City selects Harrison Ingram, small forward, Stanford. And with the 30th pick, the Golden State Warriors select Johnny Juzang, small forward, UCLA. The Warriors are deep. They're back to being the Warriors. They got guys like Gary Payton and Jordan Poole and 2 first-round picks on the team, so they just go best player available. Juzang, upperclassman, a lot of experience, a good shooter, step right in and be another role player for the red-hot Warriors. That's all I got to say. So Golden State selects Johnny Juzang with the 30th pick. And that's the end, my friends. Thank you for sticking through. Please like and subscribe. I hope you enjoy this series that I'm doing. I really enjoy doing it. I like actually talking about the players instead of just filling out a spreadsheet and posting it on my website sportsgamingrosters.com. You'll see a lot more draft info, but I enjoy this format. You guys get to see the creative players, and I get to talk some about college basketball and the NBA. So please like this video if you like it, subscribe, there'll be a lot more, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.